I always say like success is a decision away. You just gotta make that decision. It's like, no, I'm either never doing this again because I'm not gonna devalue myself, or no, this is what I'm doing, and then you do that. And welcome to the podcast.
Honestly, we can actually probably start on that note, because for me, before I even get you to like introduce yourself, like you from, you know, we played hockey together, which is crazy.
So
played hockey together,
back,
went to high school, and like I'm just looking at like where we are, and I'll get you to talk about that soon. But like for you especially, like I'm thankful because like when I did that Christmas project a couple Christmases ago, basically where I raised $4,000 for to buy Christmas gifts for like underprivileged kids in the community that we grew up in.
So amazing.
And we were able to reach close to like 100 kids. And you know, when there was a point in time where like $4,000 was the goal, but I wasn't reaching $4,000, and I wasn't sure if I'd be able to like provide for as many kids that I thought I would be able to. And then I reached out to you because I knew you had, you know, this whole vintage clothes store, and I'm like, hey, like, could we work something out? Like, would you be able to like either donate or, you know, us come to you and we work something out? Absolutely. And you were like so helpful in that fact. And me and Adam were able to come here and get winter jackets and get sweaters and all these things and get for like I think 30 to 40 kids. So that was like incredible. So I'm so thankful for that. But you know, as we're about to start, I want you to kind of talk about like where are we, because you know, me and Adam were shooting in Adam's basement, but now like we have this place. So like explain to us like where are we, like this is your store, but like how did you come about like getting where we are right now?
Yeah, 1,000%. This is our warehouse. We have a 3-unit warehouse here in Mississauga. Like this is our main location that we work out of. And it's crazy because like it always starts with, there's always a story to everything. Like we used to have a 1,500 square foot warehouse literally on the same street, 2 minutes and you make a left. We kind of like, we started out from that, and it's just like even 1,500 square feet at the time was, oh my gosh, like you're kind of making that decision, you know what I mean? It's like, for us at least, it felt like no, what we were just talking about, like just a success is a decision away, and we made that decision to do this, you know what I mean? And then an opportunity presented itself, and like everything's like, we never, especially me and the team, you know what I mean? Like I never believe in self-made. Like in my opinion, I don't believe in self-made. Like I always believe you're just a product of your affiliation. We ended up coming back, like we ended up getting this opportunity to get into this 10,000 square foot facility, and at the time it's a humongous commitment, you know what I mean? Like 10,000 square feet, especially in Mississauga, you know what I mean? So it's like, that's something you really gotta grow into, and for us, I felt like it was something that kind of just, it was going to make or break us, you know what I mean? And it ended up obviously working out for us in the best possible way. And just like you were talking about, like you made that initiative for the donations and raising that money, and it's like you made that decision for that. It's the same way I felt like even for this space, like at the beginning of this kind of journey getting into here, it's like this whole unit one, you know what I mean? Like we have the 2 units with the actual clothes in it, but like this unit one, like we didn't even know what we were gonna do with it, you know what I mean? Like a boardroom, like just different like office, like you didn't know what you were gonna do, but like we felt like, and I felt like that was our entire goal, was kind of being able to bring creatives together, because we kind of knew that going into the future, that's who's gonna run this world. It's just creators, creatives, entrepreneurs, stuff like that, and it kind of felt like, it just felt like the right thing to do. And in Westport, like in the 1,500 square foot unit, that like it felt like that was our goal and initiative there too. So to come in and being like actually able to offer a space to whatever kind of creatives, whether it's photographers, videographers, entrepreneurs, different businesses in whatever kind of facet, and kind of create the value on that end, I felt like was going to be like this super beneficial, because you know, it's like this is one of the first businesses, like you're talking about, like we did like how many different businesses that you know what I mean, and like how far like just our story goes back. You're talking about like hockey, I remember going to church with you, like there's so many different, it goes so deep. So it's like to see the people around you kind of just making a difference in the community is such a pivotal thing, and I felt like you know, like if you have this opportunity, you got to be able to give back in whatever kind of way. And I felt like in this business is one of the, if not the first business, vintage clothing, where you're actually able to provide a valuable service for somebody. You know what I mean? Like being able to give, we're mainly wholesalers that create like a retail store. Now we have 3 locations, and it's turned into that, like being able to provide for small businesses that kind of also want to sell clothes and like create a side business, create a full-time business. And a lot of people just a lot of people have limiting beliefs on what you could do in this kind of facet or in this business or in their own belief systems. You know what I mean? It's like people just have their own kind of limiting beliefs that kind of keep them where they are. And it's like what we're talking about, like success is a decision away, and it's like being able to take that step and being able to feel good about that is you're 90% of the way there.
I love that. So explain. So Street Culture is the name of the company. Kind of explain, like, how did you come up with the name? And you said you had 3 stores. So kind of take us through there. So Street Culture, like, what is it? What is it that you guys do? And then how did you go from, say, just wholesaling to now having 3 stores?
Yeah, you know what? It's actually so crazy because, like, in Malton, again, same. It's your love affiliation, right? Yeah. It's like we were in my backyard, and we were just. It's me, Lloyd, Justin, Josh, Kaylin, just five guy team, and we were talking about in the backyard, like, man, we could create something around this. Like, we just knew the culture was the way, and it's like we knew we wanted to kind of create umbrellas, and we were like creating different like facets. So we wanted to create like Instagram pages for like, and we did it, like auto culture. Yeah. Like Street Culture was the one to kind of do something with fashion, and then auto culture was one to like kind of just for our dreams cars, of like cars. Well, like there's I think like 3 other ones. How old were you guys? At this time we were 18, 19, I think it like maybe 4 years ago.
4 years ago, so around 2018-ish?
Yeah, 2018-ish. Okay. And it's so crazy because like people always attribute, and like again, like 4 years seems like yesterday, you know what I mean? And it's like, I feel like that's one of those things with instant gratification. It's like people always think it's like
it comes quickly.
Like it's delayed gratification is, I always kind of revert back to like the bamboo tree, you know what I mean? It's like it says it takes 5 years for a bamboo tree to turn it into its full form, and you have to water it every single day for 5 years. And if you don't water it for 1 day in that 5 years, it will die in the ground. But in the 5th year, in a matter of 5 weeks, it will grow 90 feet. And then the question is, did that bamboo tree grow 90 feet in 5 weeks, or did it grow 90 feet in 5 years? 5 years. And it did it in 5 years. You know what I mean? And a lot of people aren't willing to, or can't see that. You know what I mean? So it started with that, and then kind of just making the decision. And then when you kind of know what you want, I felt like we were blessed to kind of know information, just as like just young kids. You know what I mean? So being able to kind of push that level, and like all of us being in the same circle of the same information, we're all just naturally growing at a similar pace. You know what I mean? So it kind of worked out, and then just opportunities just start randomly arising. But it's not random because
with preparation.
You know what I mean? With preparation, with the right thought process, with the right desire. You know what I mean? With strict burning desire, able to accomplish anything you'd ever wish for. So it kind of like things came out to be like we got an opportunity to get, at first it was just a small like lump sum of clothes. Then it became like,
how did that come about, the lump sum of clothes?
Yeah, like we just kind of got in talks with, like, I think it was like a couple different people. We were able to get our hands on just like a supplier that was able to provide it for us. that turned into like, yo, we can actually do this as a business, street culture specifically. So that's how the name came about.
Yeah.
Then we were like, and then it started in the garage, and it's so crazy because I kind of skipped to our first warehouse, but it didn't start. It started in our garages. You know what I mean? So it's like from the garages, we started like building just volumes amounts of clothes. Then it kind of got so big we were like. And we kind of started building like a couple different pieces of our clientele list where we were like, all right, we can actually do something with this.
Did you have a website at this time?
Jeez, and not a website. I think we were selling on like different online like a couple different like Etsy, Grilled, I think.
Okay, so that's how it started.
Maybe not even, because I think we were maybe just doing just strictly doing wholesale. Meeting a couple people. We ended up getting the opportunity to get into this warehouse that was like right down the street, 1,500 square feet, and it was only like I think it was a 7-month sublease. I was like, you have 7 months to show you have something, you know what I mean? Like whether it's a make or a break kind of moment. And when we got in there, it's like being able to, and we're still working jobs too, like
full time.
Full time. Like at first it was, I think only 1 or 2 of us were able to work full time on the job, and then the other 3 we were still working like full time jobs, and then you know what I mean, like 9 to 5, and then we'd have our 5 to 9 because we'd go to this warehouse to do whatever we had to do, and just especially this business, it's volumes amounts of clothes, so it sometimes gets really, you know what I mean, super overwhelming. A lot of stuff to store, this, that, the other, but one of those businesses, especially when I like the way we started, because in wholesale you're able to provide a service for somebody, and that person takes actual benefit from that service. Like, you know what I mean? Like you're able to feed your family with that service. You're able to like, you know what I mean? Just provide, just make a living. And it's like that. Just that fact alone kind of, I felt like pushed us to just greater heights, and kind of going through it, we were like, okay, we knew that was kind of like going to be the way to kind of go forward, but we didn't know, like we just felt like wholesale maybe was going to be a little bit much, or like that maybe that wasn't going to be the only way. And then we kind of just started having these $20 sale events, and that's kind of how.
From your garage or from the warehouse?
From the first warehouse. From the garages, we were just doing wholesale to the first warehouse, and then we started just doing these $20 sale events. And then that's kind of what propelled us, because like just being able to bring, I felt like nobody in the community's really seen that before. I think before we did our own $20 sale event, there was like a couple community vendor events, and I think we went to the first one, second one, and as much, like I just felt like we were just a little bit different. You know what I mean? Just the team around us.
You guys had an advantage, like the people.
1,000%. Like we weren't dudes just starting our first business. We maybe have went through since 2016. All 5 of us have went through maybe 4 or 5 businesses that didn't.
That you guys did together.
That we did together.
I remember the Young and Bay, right? That was one of them.
1,000%. 1,000%. And it's like, you know what, exactly. It's like you got Young and Bay. Lloyd had a clothing apparel brand, still has it, 528 Co.
Yeah, I remember that with the bombers and stuff.
1,000%, right?
Tough,
and those that was a 5-person group that you know what I mean, direct thought process, because it's about what you want it to be, you know what I mean? So it's like, it doesn't matter the avenue to where you get it at, but it ended up being all these different things, maybe like 5, 6 different businesses that we all did together. And again, like back to instant or delayed gratification, where it's like, we didn't just get this business and we succeeded. We, I don't want to say failed at, you know what I mean?
Well, trial and error.
1,000% through 5, 6, 7 businesses to get to where we're at now, especially going back into like Vima. That was like 2013, 2014. That's like 10 years ago.
Yeah,
it's such a trip. Long time. Such a trip, man.
I love that. So even I'd say, well, I love that, because like you said, the instant gratification and the delayed gratification portion. Like, you know, I use the example when I had spoken to Visuals about, you know, like almost, I feel like especially when you're trying to birth, whether it's a company or anything that's in you that you're not aware of, it takes a long time. Like I used like the whole pregnancy thing. It takes a woman 9 months to give birth, and she still like what she consumes is important during that 9 months. Like there's actually stats like, you know, if she smokes, like that's more like analogous of, you know, consuming things that are harmful to what you're trying to birth. So if it's a business I'm trying to birth, you know, if people are saying I can't do this, I can't do that, and I listen to that, then that affects me giving birth to a company or to an idea. So I find that interesting. The portion where you said, you know, you guys had started doing it in your garage. Now I'm curious because I know if I started, well, I actually, this is funny, I'm gonna bring this up, but in high school I used to sell, you remember those Mitchell & Ness and Tissa hats? There was those snapbacks.
Oh,
so I used to sell hats in high school, and I used to do trips from like my house to Bramley City Center to Square One, just selling hats on like Facebook. It wasn't Marketplace, but they used to have those.
You
groups,
sound like Lloyd for sure.
No, bro, for real. Like all those buy and sell. Like, hey, like I'm selling this Tissa hat for $90. Who wants it? Somebody will DM you. I'll meet you at Square One, and I would go to Square One with the hat to make $90 to take the same bus with the same transfer back home. So I know exactly what you're talking about.
Oh my gosh.
So when I started doing that, because I would buy them wholesale, so I get like maybe 50 to 100 pieces of a hat, and then, you know, go about trying to sell that. Now when I was doing that, obviously I was living in my house, but it's my parents' house. So imagine my parents seeing some grade 9 kid ordering hundreds of hats, bringing it home, telling them he's gonna sell all of these hats. So I'm wondering, in you guys' case, bringing in all these clothes, and you guys are saying you're leaving them in the garage, what were your parents saying to you? What did your parents like? What were their attitudes towards you guys trying to pursue this venture?
That's a good question. But you sound like that's exactly what Lloyd used to do, and like that's vision. You know what I mean? That's strict. Like you knew you had something a little bit different. Same as him. I think it was like grade 8 to grade 10, 11. Like I don't know when he did it until, but like just having that strict vision. I felt like all of our parents, because we've known each other, like I've known Justin and Lloyd since grade 2, you know what I mean? So just like you do, like just it goes so far back, you know what I mean? And when you have that kind of affiliation behind you, our parents felt like our parents knew we were going to be successful with us, like especially like my mom, I know Lloyd's mom, Kaylin's mom, and dad, Justin and Josh, like especially when you see the group around you, it's like it's not just you're looking at one person like doing this. It's like no, you have a whole group of people that have a very similar similar mindset, and not even similar mindset, a similar desired objective. And a lot of people miss this. When you have a similar desired objective, a burning desire for one thing, you don't just have one source of energy going towards this thing. You have 5 sources of energy, all putting a ball of fire into this certain vision or this certain thing, which manifests itself so much quicker and with so much more velocity, because you're able to, again, when you know information, and when you know mindset, and when you know, especially like us as young kids, like knowing like law of attraction is one, law of vibration, just knowing universal laws and how they
understanding
them at a very young age. It's like at 25 we could be in this position that we're in, but you know, it's like if we started that process at 25, just a mindset, that's another 10 years that we would have had to go through that. So it's like people see stuff like as still like very young kids, but like this mindset training was going on since 15 years old, you know, for all 5 of us, which was such a important key, especially for so my mom seeing me, and like just for her, I felt like kind of me going into sports and me doing these things, especially like growing up in Malton. It's not the worst place, it's definitely not the best place, you know what I mean? It's growing a lot from where
it was when we were young.
Yeah, for sure. So it's like and like growing up on Goreway too, it's like, you know what I mean? For sure. So it's a trip out. So it's like I felt like my mom knew, especially kind of my 2 sisters at the time weren't doing the best. Single mom, because my dad passed away when I was really young. And she kind of knew. She was like, if I don't if I don't get him looking at different things, I will fall victim to the place that I'm in.
Yeah,
you know what I
yeah.
mean? I could have went two completely different ways. You know what I mean? And it's like, so she started putting me in sports, soccer, hockey, basketball, technically whatever I wanted.
Yeah,
but, and even though like the certain sport never manifested itself into playing pro sports. It was never for me. I started to realize like it was never about that. It was about the mindset, or it was about where you're going. And I felt like even for me, not having a lot as a kid, like on a material end, I felt like when I go to play, especially hockey, it's like you just have like just wealthier people that you're around. It's like you're going to
especially hockey.
Especially hockey, for sure. So you're going to these barbecues and team whatever get-togethers. And like these kids have pools, and these kids have like why is their family have multiple cars? I mean,
2-car garage.
You know what I mean. Like they have 4 bedrooms upstairs. I swear, like me as a young kid, I'm just kind of like taking in these small things, but like that ended up being big things because it kind of like I want that. You know what I mean? Why you start wondering why you don't have it, and then no, I'm going to have it. You know what I mean? And like making that decision as a young kid, and that was one of the best things my mom ever did. And like my whole team kind of growing up in similar circumstances, like Lloyd and Justin also came from Malton, so also experiencing however many things. Lloyd moving from house to house, Justin living in Malton his whole life, Kaylin and Josh, just like you have people have their stories, you know what I mean? So it's like everybody has something, and that's why I never attribute success, or I can never play the victim, because somebody's always doing better than you and somebody's always doing worse than you. You know what I mean? And it's like, and I'm never a person where I'm like I fall victim to my story, because I know there's always somebody doing worse than me, or has been in a worse position. You know what I mean? So so that was a big thing. So for our parents, I felt like it was definitely like a kind of known thing. It wasn't one of those things like most people like, oh, you're not gonna do anything. This isn't gonna like it was like that in the beginning in my like immediate family, but not my mom. Like more my sister.
Because it's more so like I'm happy he's doing this and he's not doing this.
Yeah.
So then actually I want to go there because parents, like parenthood is very, very important, and like even the fact that you mentioned that. Like I want to ask you, like, how important was your mom for you, especially because you said your father passed away when you were how old?
4.
When you were 4.
Okay.
And you guys were still in Malton at this time.
Yeah.
Okay. So then, how important was your mom for you, especially the drive that you have? Because knowing that, like you said, like your mom didn't want you to go down. You could have easily gone down. You had 2 different paths. You could have easily gone down one path, and where we are right now, in another world, we're not here.
For sure.
Like we are not here.
1000%.
So then I'm wondering, like, how important was your mom for you? And like, how much did she invest in you so that you didn't end up like the way either your friends or people that you knew in the community?
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my gosh, for like everything. Especially especially going into high school, and like in high school you have so many people that are not in that wave of thinking. So like me being in grade 9, 10, like really just having a burning desire to do something, and it didn't matter what it was. I could have done anything. I made the decision I wanted to be a photographer. Like I literally wanted those guys, like I want to do everything, you know what I mean? And you go from thing to thing to thing, and like at first I felt like it was one of those things that kind of pushed me back, because you can never be the master of anything. But it ended up being a blessing for me, because it gave me the mindset and to do whatever I needed to do into the future. So it was one of those things that that was so, like my mom just so beneficial for me, being able to give me the tools, or like just kind of take me out of environments and put me in new environments to kind of just make me not see it. You know what I mean? And
try
like
to protect you, basically.
1000%. As you've seen, like especially even seeing my sisters, they're like they also have like different stories. I'm the youngest kid too, so it's like me being, I can learn from other people's mistakes. You know what I mean? I'm able to take what I need to take, and and look at I don't have to learn from my own mistakes. I could just learn from other people's mistakes. You know what I mean? And
a wise man learns from other people's mistakes. A fool learns from his own.
Interesting. And from me, like, my mom was like 1,000% the most important person in this. Just being able to give me the freedom to like do what you need to do, because I know you're going to be successful at whatever you do. Going into high, especially like in elementary school, like that doesn't really play out because you don't have a lot of criticism. You don't have a lot of like haters.
Not really aware. Even if you do, you're not really aware of it.
1,000%. Exactly. And going into high school, you start having these criticisms, and it's because most other kids have these neural pathways of their own past and their own limitations and their own things, so that gets directed onto you. Especially when you have, and you say things, whether it's say things out loud, whether it's like you're doing something specific and like you're letting other people know, i.e. grade 12, that's kind of like where I felt like it started. I really kind of like dialed in.
Hear it?
Yeah, I started to hear it specifically. And again, like it was Vima. Like that was just doing that. That was again, like what we were talking about. It didn't matter the business. It's about where you wanted to go. It's not about how you got there. But like Vima specifically.
Can you explain what that is? Like,
it's just an MLM company.
At the time. But like at the time, because like now those are becoming more and more common. But at the time when we were in high school, like that was something we were unaware of. So if that was to come now, we would say, okay, nah, that's not, you know what I mean? Like that's not somewhere I want to go. But in high school, when you're unaware, and like you said, like coming from your situation, like I want to go somewhere. I don't want to go there, but I know I want to go somewhere, and I'm willing to do whatever to get there. So at the time, like the way you were thinking at the time, like was that the first time you had like stepped, say, out of your comfort zone and tried to do something to get to like where we are now? Like, would you say that was the first step as far as building that, you know, like I'm willing to go into sales, or I'm willing to learn this, or I'm willing to, you know, just put myself out there to try to get something done?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, like I'll say that like in grade 10, I wanted to be a photographer, and like I'd be in Comtech class, shout out Flaherty, and like and I'd be emailing wedding I'd be emailing wedding photographers to assist their weddings for free, and so that was in grade 10. So like I wouldn't say it's the first push, but like Vima specifically was that first thing that got me uncomfortable, because I had to talk to people I may not have wanted to talk to. It made me like made me get out of the comfort zone even that much more, because you needed people you didn't know, or you did know, and you had to explain the it's just things that were all just new to me, you know. It's like the photography thing was kind of like still like I just talked to one person, this, that, the other. Like Vima,
it wasn't face to face. Vima was face to face.
Yeah, one time Vima was like you have to talk, and a mass amount of people too. I will say, and a lot of people, and I'm not even.
How many are we talking?
No, like I'm talking about like most of my grade, most of the people I've talked to. It's it just whether it's criticisms, it's little little things that the other, and like, and I tell people, no, I'm getting this. Maybe it might have not have been in Vima, but like this is where I'm going. And whatever amount of criticism I got. You know what I mean? And
they weren't used to that. They weren't used to hearing that.
But I always say this, and I still say this: time tells all tales. Time tells all tales. And I told them that in grade 12, and I'll tell them that now, because they didn't. Because especially in this society, you need materials to kind of impress upon somebody. So me at the time, not having anything, I'll give another example. Like I'd be in co-op class. I remember going into Ruli's little in the library, and like one of my favorite
to this day.
Yeah, one of my favorite teachers ever. But like he'd always give me. I always go into his room for Chuck Norris quotes. I will never forget.
Those were popular.
Yeah, no, all these Chuck Norris quotes this guy would drop on me every single day. And I remember telling him, like, especially when I got into Vima, I was like, because they'd give out Beam or Benz or like whatever they said they do. I was like, I'm gonna get I'm gonna get a Mercedes Benz. Like, I'm gonna do it.
This is what grade you're telling him this?
Yeah, grade 12.
Grade 12. Mm-hmm.
And like even him, and like he was one of my biggest supporters, and even him, I felt like he was like, man, a Mercedes, like that's just a little, it's a little much, man. Like it was just always like, and like again, him being one of my biggest kind of like supporters.
You wanted to hear like, yeah, you're gonna do this. Like, yo, this is you. This is you. And the tone wasn't exactly what you expected.
For sure, and it was like, and it was one of those like I don't want to say pivotal moments, but like it was one of those things where I was like, even now, I should have told him I was getting, like I don't want to say material, but like a Lamborghini, a Bugatti, anything that's just so out of world. You know what I mean? Like even now, I look at a Mercedes Benz, like, oh my god, like how basic. You know, it's like it's a very superficial thing at the time, especially for me. It was like I felt the need, like I needed material so I could show everybody that I have the materials, not realizing that none of that mattered at all.
Materials don't make the man.
1,000, and after you get the materials, that's when you realize it. You know what I mean? So it's like, so that was one of those big things for me at least, and a small group of people believed in me at that time, mainly the people that are in my group right now.
That's lovely.
And those are the people that kind of had the same exact mindset. I'll tell you this too. Vima, if I didn't do Vima, I definitely would not be here right now, because Vima gave me the mindset training to be in the place that I'm in today, and it gave me the people. It gave me my surrounding people to allow me to flourish. Like the amount of people I've met in Vima, and like again, like when I go back to this, like one person is a strong energy. You could have insane amounts of energy. A group of people having a similar desired objective, that is powerful, and it happens so much quicker. So so yeah, no, 1,000% Vima was that thing that propelled me to all the other things, you know what I mean? Just the journey of life, and then that kind of propelled me into the thing that you knew you needed, but time tells the tales.
Yeah, I love that. So then let's go into your friends, because I had said this in like an Instagram video either a week ago or so. I said, you know, I'm only as strong as the group of people that I surround myself with. So, you know, I feel at least there's been a popular fad of, you know, people want to claim being self-made, but to say that I'm self-made, I'm neglecting the impact other people have had on me, because nobody travels through this life alone. Even if you have a single mother, or even if you have lost your parents, like it took two people to make you. That is a fact.
So true.
That is a fact. Definitely. And then as you go through elementary school, you go into middle school, high school, you meet people that change you. For the better or for worse is up to you. That's a different discussion.
That's so true.
But you meet people that change you regardless.
Absolutely.
So it may be, you know, if I'm still around the same people that I was around, you know, in grade 10, and some people have been added on to that painting, that canvas, like that is because I am who I am because of the people that I have around me. So you can't, you know, it's always, you know, if you have 4 millionaire friends, you'll be the 5th. But that also means if you have 4 broke friends, you'll be the 5th. It doesn't just work one way. So I'm wondering now, like the friends that you have, the people that have created this place that we're in right now, like how did you, like was there a moment where like, you know, these are the guys I'm gonna have for the rest of my life, I've already seen that, and like how did you guys start, how did the friendship start? Because I find friendship stories are always funny, like how people become friends. Like those are always interesting stories.
Yeah, it's so freaking crazy, because especially knowing, like in grade 2, like you don't know who's gonna be with you when you're 25 years old, 30. Well, at the end of life, it's like, and most of the people aren't with you. But it's so interesting that like in grade 2, my best friends were Justin Lloyd Abuka. You know what I mean? In grade 12 and kind of like going, and like even in grade 2, it's like those were my best friends in elementary. In high school, and then just seeing that, those are the same people that actually had the same mindset from a young kid. You know what I mean? So it's so interesting that's like, you can control so much, but the universe also plays its part. Like that, like they were there for a reason to be in the same place, because whether it's a past life and coming into this life, whatever that was, that I needed to meet these people at such a young age, then meeting Kaylin, then meeting Josh. so pivotal because everybody has a certain thing about
or like
us.
a skill or
It's not a skill, it's a mindset. You know what I mean? Because so few people have this mindset that can take you and propel you to and have that care. And there's a few like really good friends that technically didn't make the cut. You know what I mean? But like, and I like Snoop Dogg always said, and I always felt bad at first for like, no, I don't want to say cutting off friends, like them cutting off themselves. You know what I mean? And it's like, you have a gap, and like as you're going up, there's this gap that's here, and the only way you could close the gap is if you go down here, or if they come up here. But there's no point in coming back down here. So it's them closing the gap on you. But if they don't choose to close the gap, you can't do, like, you can't control that. And then I always kind of give it to the universe and God to like put me into the best position possible for me, and like thankfully that the people that I'm surrounded by now is the same people that I was surrounded by 5 years ago, 10 years ago, and the same people that will be around me for the next 20, 30, 40, especially when you have built such an interlocking with each other and that foundation. You know what I mean? You could only build as high up as you build deep, or you know what I mean? So being able to have that foundation with the same people for such a long amount of time, definitely propelled me to like different levels. And like I'm not talking, and even now, like now is crazy. Like we live together now, so it's such an insane. You know, like people have part-time businesses, people have, and like they'll see and say it's with their friends, and it's like, and that's what you have to do. Like at first, whether it's part-time, this, that, the other, it's like you only see your friends half the day. You only see your friends for a certain amount of time, but then when you get together, that's when it builds. Now it's like even in the summers, it was like every single day. 8 to 12 hours a day, I'd be around the same exact people and around very few other people. So you're only getting this information in this realm of the people that you actually affiliate yourself with, and the people that, and this affiliation of yours is going, and is going to the next level. You know what I mean? So it's like, and then turning that into from part-time to full-time. Imagine that, like where it's like everybody has a similar desired objective, but you're not able to be around them all the time. But now coming into a place where it's like you're with each other full time, you live together now, you're with these people almost 24 hours a day
at this point.
But that how much more energy you could put into that objective and into those desires that that you're, I don't want to say trying to manifest, you're just manifesting in the right now. Like life's just happening, you know what I mean? So many different, it's just about how you're feeling, how you're trying to just perceive your life or whatever. So it's kind of like just kind of feeling those types of energies and being around these people for, especially now, like for so many hours in the day, and always kind of just always having the same mindset as we had 5-10 years ago, and it just propels everything so much faster. So the more time you could be around your friends, and the more time you're plotting, scheming, desiring, you know what I mean? Like having that burning desire for whatever it is, whether it's something specific, something general, or just a feeling, you know what I mean? That's the way and that's the first thing, and that's the first step, is defining a dream. You could define it very specifically. I want a black Mercedes-Benz. I want a whatever. It's like I want a red seats, this, that, the other. Something general. I want a nice luxury car. I want to have purpose into my career. I want, like, whatever it is. Or you could just have a feeling. And like me going through that, especially when I was younger, way more on the material end of it. Way more like I want a Mercedes, or I want this, or I want that. Getting all those things, realizing in this life, all that ever matters is you feeling good. You just want to feel good every single day. You know what I mean? So that's how the transition of, for me at least, that's how my transition happened with like how I desire stuff, and like the same thing with my partners too. You know what I mean? Because everybody's kind of, you're all receiving the same materials, then you realize those materials like after I heard something good. Like after you have enough money, you stop having money problems.
Yeah.
But now all you're left with is problems.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I heard that.
But yeah.
So then I want to talk about friends and relationships, because I believe, like, whether it's business relationships, whether it's marital relationships or platonic relationships, compromise is necessary. You can't have a relationship without compromise. Now, I think the big mistake a lot of people make is that they think the compromise has to be on the goal. I don't think the compromise is on the goal. I think the goal has to be the same, but how we get about getting there, that's where the compromise arises. So I'm wondering, you guys, like you said, the desire was the same. You guys knew what you wanted. You had one goal. Now I'm wondering, where was there compromise? Because I'm sure you have 5 different minds. Yeah. 5 different minds don't want to get to the same place by taking the same route. Like one person wants to take this route, one person wants to take this route. So having that group of people, even though the goal is the same, I'm wondering, how did you guys come about compromising, and how did you guys come about solving disputes? Because I'm sure you had disputes getting from, the first business you guys started to where you are now.
Yeah, interesting. You know what? Like, I will say that very like, this, I don't want to say like disputes. Yeah, like everybody, you'll always have like difference of opinion on certain things. Yeah. The end goal, like all the same, and that's just in my opinion, and just in this specific group, like we're very similar minded, and very few like we're all on the same desired objective, meaning there are very few things, like you might have a difference on opinion here or opinion there, but patience is a key skill, especially when you're around each other a lot more. Kind of like understanding somebody's perspective, and like the routes that you're going, it's like always realizing that everybody has their own purpose in life, you know what I mean? And everybody's taking steps to get to where they want. And I felt like what a blessing we had was the ability to understand that we all want each other to get to these places. Because a lot of friends that you're around, where it's like you only want them to get to a place where they're level with you,
or level or lower,
never higher. You know what I mean? So it's like that, to be a blessing where your friends are propelling you to new states of mind, or new states of or places, or like knowing, especially like, and understanding what everybody wants. You know what I mean? Like, to avoid disputes, to avoid like, and knowing where that everybody has a different route or has a different place. Understanding what these places are that they want to go to, you know what I mean? It's like, if you know exactly where they're trying to get to, you could help them get there, you know what I mean? So a huge thing in group scenarios, especially more than 2 people, is communication. Communication is so key in this thing that we call life. And it's like, if you can just have the ability to communicate with each other, like just like concisely, all the time, and sometimes like, especially over a period of time, it could get, you know what I mean? Like, especially now, it's like we have from one location, that's like one of the things that we had to deal with too. It's like,
yeah, that's what I was gonna ask. Like, how did you guys come about, like you said, like communication is key. Were there points where you guys had struggled with communication, especially at the beginning, trying to build what this is now, and like the thought process of, okay, we want to get another store. Okay, we want to get another store. And especially, I think you guys got it during the pandemic. Was it the second or the third store you got during the pandemic?
Yeah, all 3 stores.
So you got them all during the pandemic. Yeah. So like, how was that? How was that, like, you guys sitting down and saying, okay, this is what we want to do? Timing, is this the right time? Is this not the right time? Like, how did that conversation come about?
Yeah, interesting. This warehouse was pre-pandemic. The other 2 stores, like, we have 3 locations now. Communication, never an issue. Like, especially like small warehouse with never any communication issues, and still like very like, it's just everybody's their mindset's so right. So like you're just on a similar frequency, so nothing could ever get too far left or too far right. You know what I mean? But going into now from one location to now having 3 locations, one in Woodbridge, one in Toronto. Now it's not 5 people in one place. You know what I mean? Now it's 2-2-1, or you know, like 3-2, or whatever that thing is. So communication can get thinned out, where if you don't keep that line, or if you don't keep that the communication high in different aspects, then you could just notice it going very quickly. Again, like I'm just so blessed to say that, like, never any issues, especially with the group of people, and that's what you should desire, is like having a group of people that you can always be on the same wavelength as, always the same frequency as. It's like, you know what I mean? Like, you can only, if you had a goal here, but the people and the frequency you're on is here, you can never get that
disconnect.
It's like being on 93.5 RIP, and then and then trying to listen to Z103. It's like it's never gonna happen. So it's like so to be able to just all be on just similar, like, you know what I mean, like, it's just a balance of things, and helping people, you know what I mean, them helping me through times where I may have struggled, or us helping other people where they may have struggled, you know what I mean, and like having those extra people and parents and just having like a surrounding that is just so solid, where you literally believe all I can receive is success. I will never believe in failure, because it does not exist. And like having that mindset and going forward is key principle, 1000%. And then like being able to eliminate fear and doubt from your mind is also such a key concept, because like without belief you're never going to do anything. You know what I mean? Without that frequency, if you don't believe something, if you believe something, you have to transmit that frequency over a specific duration of time, and also increase it during that time. You know what I mean? And this is the thing that people get mixed up.
I think the saying is like, if you can't see it, you'll never be able to conceive it. So if you can't see it, foresight being like one of the blessings we're able to have, to be able to see something that nobody else can see, is a gift. That's something we all have. Like you said, if you have a dream, I can't see your dream. You're the only one that can see it. You can try to explain it to me, I can try to envision it, but I'll never be able to see it the way you see it, which is why even when I talk to people, I try to tell them, you know, to have a dream is lovely, but don't be frustrated when people can't see what you see, because it's your picture. Like, you're trying to put your picture in somebody else's head. It's a very difficult thing to do. But I want to take you, because we're talking before we even started, like off the camera, about 2015, and I always believe that, you know, every challenge prepares you for the next challenge. So you can't get here without challenges, as I'm sure that you've had many. Absolutely. Like you said, when you gave the bamboo tree example, that's 5 years. And if you miss one day, the whole 5 years goes to nothing. So take me back to 2015, where you said that was the most difficult year, when you were trying to make things work and things weren't working, and you're trying to make things work again and things weren't working, and having that resiliency, which I'm sure you've built just during 2015 alone, to take you here. Like, take me through 2015 and a couple of the stories that you'd already shared with us.
So like, just going through them planning, I feel like I'm a good person to look at for like if you haven't like succeeded at some things, because I say I've worked at like 30, 50 different jobs, just 1 days, 1 weeks, 1 month. You know what I mean? Like, the amount of places and things that I've experienced, especially and 2015 being at the start of that year after high school, not going to college, me knowing from grade 12, grade 11, I definitely wasn't going to college. And then kind of like, for me at least, like I'd go through jobs, like we were talking off camera, like I'd have jobs selling door to door, and like I remember going to this for the 1 day, like me going all the way out to Ajax, 2-hour commute, because my mom didn't have a car. You know, like taking the Humber Loop. If you live in Malton, you know what a Humber Loop is. You know, not having bus money, freaking, and then doing these certain jobs and not feeling good about it. You know what I mean? It's like, and then coming back and like feeling frustrated, and all these feelings of like hurt, frustration, sadness, anger, all these things that aren't putting you on a frequency of what you want. You know what I mean? And the universe doesn't care how you're feeling. It's just going to give you what you feel. And putting myself more into positions of putting myself into more positions of power, and like, and then you kind of just go through the motions, and it would go from this job to that job, and it'd be, now I'm selling on the phone, and then it's like, I don't like the way these guys operate their business, you know? So it's like, to the next one, you start doing warehouse jobs, picking orders, and it's like, and then it's, sometimes it suffices, and it's like, yeah, I could get by with this, but it's not something that makes you feel, I'm here. So how can I ever receive something that's here when I'm here on a frequency level, on a, how much do I desire something, or even put you in that next position? Those jobs, because I had the mindset, push me, and I'll use this example. Everybody has a 3-inch diameter screen right here. And this is what they call the radar screen. Everything that you see is on your radar screen in this 3-inch diameter. Outside of that radar screen, these 3 inches, there's 300 feet of off the radar screen stuff, and that's where 99% of life happens, is off the radar screen. And that's where people get too hung up, because they think about, well, I don't know how to do that, or I don't know if I can do that because I don't have resources, this, that, the other. And I'll tell you this right now, everything that you will ever desire will come in thousands or millions of different ways that are off your radar screen. So when you have a vision, never look at the radar screen that you have in front of you, because most of the times it's never going to be coming from the way you think it's going to come. It's always going to come from a way that you couldn't even imagine, but you had to be on the frequency of, because if the law of vibration, you're vibrating here, it's a law. You have to receive what you desire, whether it's specific, general, or just a feeling. You have to receive that frequency because of that law. And people always kind of just put yourselves in a position of here and just put yourself lower, or and you can never make that decision, so you kind of feel like you're running on the rat wheel, you know what I mean? It's like you're running in a circle. And the more you could get to a place of, when you make the decision, that's 99% of everything. Because anything, now just being there for a specific amount of time, things just start happening. Oh, random people just, wow. It could be people, places, events, or things, you know what I mean? It could be one of those, and thousands of different opportunities could be coming into your way, but you have to be on the energy of, this is what I'm doing, that's it, period. You know what I mean? And that's what I had going through these tough times, 2015, 2014, like the end of school, 2014, 2015, technically 2016, 2017, because I made the decision in 2016. Technically, I made the decision in 2013 when I started Vima, but even in 2013, it's like nowhere even near where you could be. Like, to give you perspective, in 2013, I thought I'd be a millionaire buying my mom a house in 2016. To give you perspective. So in 2016, it's like being able to know, this is what I'm doing, and knowing the information, I'm doing that. And then it takes that time for the perfect thing to come into your radar screen. Oh, that's it. You know what I mean? But it was never the thing that you thought it was going to be. It's always something that you couldn't even imagine, and that comes into your place of, oh wow, I thank goodness I didn't think it was this certain thing or that certain thing, because I wouldn't have got this opportunity or that opportunity, because it just came in so it's it was magic. You know what I mean? And people don't believe in that that could happen for them. And I'm telling you, that could happen for anybody that puts themselves on an energy of, you know what I mean? And then going through those tough times, and then you're always kind of tweaking and fixating, and you know, and trying to see, which is such a key concept. So putting yourself in that kind of way, and most people don't succeed because of anything other than the people they listen to. People listen to people that don't have what they want. So, but respectfully, and that's why most people don't get what they want, because they listen to their parents. But if their parents don't have what they want, which is 99% of the time, you'll never receive that.
You'll put yourself in the exact same position.
Success breeds success.
So then, can you give me an example? Because like if I picture myself as someone who's trying to start a business. I've worked multiple jobs, but none of them worked, and I've decided, I want to be an entrepreneur, but I don't exactly understand what that costs. Can you give me an example, maybe the example you gave, or you can give another of like one of your worst days on the job, like what that was like, the actual example, and then give me another example to contrast that of one of your best days, like working at StreetCvlture, where you say, you were using vibrations and frequency, like, how did you meet this person, or how did this event happen? And it's like, because I was operating on this level. So give me an example of like one of your worst days on the job, and then one of your best days.
Yeah, 1000%. January 21st, 2015.
No, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it, because I know it, but I want to hear it.
Yeah, 1000%. It was one of the coldest days of winter that season. Went to a job interview for this door-to-door. I think it was HVAC, selling furnaces or something, thinking it was a job interview. I already went for one job interview. Mind you, I live in Malton. This job interview was in Scarborough, Kennedy Road. And so whatever. So go to the job interview. They call me back for a second job interview.
So you took the bus, right?
Yeah, so from my house, if you live in Malton, Goreway and Morningstar, y'all know exactly where that is. Goreway and Morningstar, walking from there to the Humber Loop.
That's about how many minutes?
Oh my god, like 40 minutes.
40-minute walk from your house to the bus loop.
To the Humber Loop.
Okay.
Take the 36 right up Finch. From Finch, get to, or not Finch, take the 37 actually. 37 to Islington. From Islington, take Islington Station right across to Kennedy. Get off at Kennedy, had to take, I think it was 2 buses to Scarlet Road or something like that.
And around how long was that commute?
Oh, 2 hours.
So 40-minute walk from your house to the bus loop, and then about a 2-hour bus ride from the bus loop to this job.
Yeah. So it was like 2.5 hours to get to this job. And it, like, mind you, I did not know what I was signing up for, especially for the second interview. All I had was a desire.
And you said you were wearing like a dress.
Like
like a suit.
1000%.
You're wearing dress shoes.
Dress shoes because I'm not prepared for this. Like they're just telling me it's an interview, so I'm dress shoes, suit, not prepared for the weather. Didn't have bus money to take the 11. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I had to use the transfer to get to Islington Station. So I had to take the 37 to Islington, walk from there to the Humber Loop in this 2.5 hour commute, get to the job facility. We do the little training maybe for an hour. Inside, thankfully. Like, all right, we're going to split up into teams now. What do you mean split up into teams? What do you mean split up into teams, right? Each maybe like 7 different groups, and I felt like, why was everybody prepared except for me? Everybody wearing like winter boots.
You're the only one in the suit.
Yeah, I'm the only person in a suit. I think I'm making calls or something. They drive us to Ajax. So from Scarborough to Ajax, which is not much farther than Malton, a long ways from home. And get to the job, and then I realized that it's a door-to-door job in the middle of winter in this suit.
Shoes.
So bad. We started at 12 p.m. At 12:20, at 12:20, my feet were done. I was so insanely cold. I was like, no, this is not for me. And the guy, and I actually didn't tell you this, but the guy, they dropped us off, and he went to like Pickering or something. Yeah, no, like Pickering or offshore. Somewhere that's.
So he left.
So he just left. So the car was maybe 5 people. He gave me the guy that was training me.
Yeah.
And then he left. So I couldn't tell him, I want to get a ride back to thing, whatever. I ain't have no money, so there's no way I'm taking that ride from Ajax.
Yeah.
I do the job at, again, like 1 p.m., my entire body's done. We went until 8 p.m. 8:30 p.m. He finally picks us up. My feet are done. He drives us back to, I guess, the job facility. From the job facility, had to take these, and again, like me walking into the bus, like in Scarborough.
Yeah,
like I like it's so bad to like at 1 p.m. like not even fathom like no I'm like my feet are numb like dress shoes and then going back to from Scarborough back to Islington.
And this is at what time?
And then so this is at 9 takes.
Jeez.
And then like 9 they had to do a little training from but Ajax too, right? So it's like say we stopped at 8:30, we got to the facility at 9, didn't get leaving until 10, and it's snowing too now. Yeah, it starts snowing at like 4 or 5 p.m. Get to the job back at like, or I get back to the facility at like maybe 9:30, stay until 10. Then I have to take that commute home. Feet are done. The whole body's done, to be honest. And then had to take that commute, and my mom's car was broken at the time. So I had to take that commute from Kennedy to Islington. Didn't have bus money to take the 11 straight to Westwood Mall. If you're from Malton, you know what I'm talking about. So I had to take it to the 37 back to the Humber Loop. It's maybe like 12:30 a.m. like
past
12.
Midnight.
Past, because the buses now are coming like less frequently. You're bringing up like some traumas in my mind.
No, but you know what it is? It's one of those where it's like look around at everything that you have right now.
Crazy.
Like talking about that, so even me, like that's so encouraging to hear, because when you're in that moment, and I was talking to a friend about this, I was saying, the only time we're present is when we're struggling. That's the only time we focus on what's going on now.
So
when things are going well, I'm talking about what I'm going to do, or I'm talking about what I did. But when I'm struggling, or I'm in a moment like that where my feet are freezing 12 plus hours in the winter in dress shoes, and I'm sitting on that bus, making my way from Scarborough back to Malton, knowing this is about to be over 2 hours, and I was done with the day in the first couple hours. I was already done with the day. To be just sitting there, all I'm thinking about is how cold I am, and I can't envision 3-4 years down the line being in a place like this. So it's always lovely to hear. You see what I mean? It's always lovely. So it's like, it's one of those traumas, but it's also nostalgic, because it's like, you can laugh about it now. But if you told that story the day after, are you laughing?
No.
It's not funny.
I was so pissed.
Yeah, exactly. It's not funny. So
Yeah.
now give me a story of like one of your best days at StreetCvlture, where something happened where you couldn't have anticipated, where everything just lined up.
Interesting. I feel like there's a few different moments. I felt like getting like the first day, even in this warehouse, one of our first $20 okay, I'll give you like our first $20 sale events
in this warehouse.
Okay. And this is pre-pandemic too. So getting into this, like, we were just super excited just to be in this like building, like especially at the beginning. It's like a lot to go into, but like you knew that this is what we're like meant to do
towards
1000% from 2015. So like the amount of gratitude that I had and have towards that was just so immense. And then kind of getting that first $20 sale in this warehouse, especially with all 5 guys here, and we're all preparing, and we pull up. It was in the summer sometime. I remember pulling up at, like, again, we went through maybe 5-6 different businesses before our business. We've hosted events where I was hoping that 10 people show up to this event. You know what I mean? I really I hope people just show up. We had like different, whether it's different vendors, different artists, kind of just performing or whatever. Because we had the vision, but we were like, we didn't know if we had like the people, right? And then there was this one time, really nostalgic, where I remember coming in at, like, our event started at 12. And I remember coming in at like 8:45, 9 a.m. There was already a lineup of 10 people outside. The event didn't start for another 3 hours. And I was just so caught off guard by it. And I was like no way those people, and like there ain't no way anybody.
This is summer though, no.
Summer,
so it's warm outside at least.
For sure. But yeah, like, no, like, it was just so nostalgic. It was like, no, like, these people are lining up for our event that starts in 3.5 hours. You know what I mean? And then having a lineup of like think it was like 100 people just lined up, wrapped around outside, like right over here.
Yeah.
And then having one of our biggest like sale days, like in terms of revenue for the company.
Yeah.
In a 1 day span, pre-pandemic too, was just so. It was such a blessing, and like again, like just like you explained, like these feelings of being in the past or being in the future, but like
never being in the present.
You know what I mean? That was one of those moments where it also took me back to the present. Like even as blessed as it was like it starts making you realize about different things that you've been through, different things that you're going, like not even things that you're going to because you've arrived.
Yeah.
You've gotten here. You know what I mean? And then feeling that feeling is just so, like just frequency level just super high, and especially in our group, like everybody's just on the same wavelength, and we're just all so grateful, all so blessed, all so like just amazed that this is happening to us because we said it would happen to us, you know. And it's like having that, like if you know, and knowing that you know, that's how you know. you know what I mean? But it's such a blessing to it, like especially that day, and then all the future events that we had forward. Like to be honest, every time we have an event, every time we have something, it kind of brings me back to certain moments in my life where we're all just like 4 years ago, 5 years ago, we weren't here.
Yeah.
You know, but we were.
Yeah. I love that. So then, okay, this is gonna be my last question to conclude. So, and I've asked this question to the past few guests because, like, you know, you've told your story. You know, your dad passed away when you were younger.
Yeah.
Your mother did everything to put you in the position that you are now, but you also had to do some things to put you into the position you are now. Friends being a very important part of that. The story you told of, you know, in winter, that 12-hour day in Scarborough and how that felt on you physically and mentally. So now I'm wondering, as my final question, what would you say to, it can be high school Luke, it can be a 2015 Luke, if that's the most difficult year, we can say a 2015 Luke. What would you say to him? Things that you didn't know or you didn't understand then that you know now. What message would you leave with a 2015 Luke?
Interesting. I feel like I'd say what I told you before is time tells all tales, and keep it going, because in 2015 I knew about energy, frequency, universal laws, and because I didn't have materials, and because we didn't have certain things in our lives, didn't mean it wasn't there. You know what I mean? Like everything was meant to be. Everything that's meant to be will be, you know. And in 2015, if I was there to tell him again, I'd tell him, this is exactly what you need right at this moment. If I was to do it all over again, I'd do the exact same thing, because that's one of those pivotal moments that made me decide that I will never go through that again, and I will get to the place that I'm at now, and which raised the energy bar that much further, frequency level that much higher, to just give me more of a burning desire and more of a reason to, whether it's retire my mom, build a house, do like all these other material things, not realizing that it's just about feeling good, and never to lose that. You know what I mean? You can't have the good without the bad. You can't have the bad without the good. And to keep your spirits high, to be grateful for every situation that you go through, and to really believe in what you believe in, and to know what you know, is the biggest thing that I could tell him, which is such a blessing, because everything that played out perfectly. But yeah, for sure.
I love that, Bill. Thank you, Luke. Episode 4, that's a wrap.
Oh yeah, we got a little clap.
Yeah, you just add that in. This guy having fun with his laptop.
I was trying to get the Gunner one. That's Pete.
I love that, yo. That's my favorite episode so far, bro. I learned a lot from you.
You're a real one. Oh, fuck, bro.
That
I had so much fun.
That was amazing.
I had so much freaking fun.
I know I have enough clips in there for probably like a year.
Yeah, it's an hour.